Where's our money man? I believe maybe President gave him too much to count, so he's still counting. Pursuant to Article 9, Section 16 of the Constitution of the Federated States of Micronesia and Title 3, Section 201 of the Code of the FSM, and as set forth in the official rules of the procedures of Congress, I hereby call the 21st Congress of the FSM First Special Session to order. May we all rise for a moment of silent prayer. Chief Clerk, roll call.
Senator Aritos, Senator Figuer, Senator Coolant, Floor Leader Harper, Senator Kunman,
Yay.
Vice Speaker Moses, Senator Ned, Senator Perman,
Yay.
Senator Romulo, Senator Ursmal, Senator Wally, Speaker Simina.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 11 members are present.
We have quorum to transact business this morning. Next item is appointment of the committee to wait on the president. I hereby appoint Chairman Wally of Koshai to serve as its chairman. And members will be Romulo from Chuk, Vice Speaker Moses from Pohnpei, and Chairman Ursmal from Yap. Please consult with the president for the time and place of your meeting. Next item.
Short recess.
Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. Before I give it to floor leader, I would like to make an announcement because of conflict of timing with Vice Speaker Moses. I hereby designate Chairman Berman to replace him on the committee to wait on the President. Floor leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise at this time on a point of privilege to introduce certain government officials and dignitaries who are observing our session this morning. And if I may, Mr. Speaker, I would like to start off with our own President, His Excellency President David W. Panuelo. Let us give him a round of applause. We are also happy and fortunate that we also have our Vice President, the Honorable Vice President Joshua P. George. I understand that a few of the Presidential Cabinet members are also observing our session this morning, but since their names are not listed, let me just ask that we give them a collective recognition by giving them a round of applause also. And this morning we are also happy and fortunate to also have members of the diplomatic community who are also observing our session this morning. And we are very grateful to His Excellency George Fraser, Ambassador Australia Embassy to FSM. Along with him, His Excellency Robert Riley, Ambassador U.S. to FSM. Next on the list, His Excellency Wang Sheng, Ambassador from the People's Republic of China to FSM. And it is my understanding that the ambassador from Japan is not present at this time, but his Deputy Chief of Mission is here with us this morning, the Honorable Koichi Sugayama. On the list, we also have two very beautiful ladies. One, Miss Evelyn Adolf, UN Coordination Specialist. Let's give her a round of applause also. And along with him, we also have Mrs. Amy Musarsirik Carroll, Director of Administration, FSM Supreme Court. Let's also give her a round of applause. Sorry if I may mispronounce a few of the names. And at the same time, we are also grateful to Mr. Asterio Tagasi that is here with most of his family members. I understand that he has with him this morning his sons, daughters, granddaughters, and grandson. So I would like to also introduce them for recognition. And I would like to start off with Asterio Tagasi himself. Let's also give him a round of applause. And if I may understand the list correctly, he has with him Andrea Tagasi, former employee of the R&D department. We have also with him Alisa Takeshi. I'm sorry if I mixed up all these things, but I'm merely following the list. But I guess Alisa was the former employee of, so please don't hate me. Throw a stone at Lynn because she's the one submitting the list. And the third on the list is Lee Ann Lim. Just for the interest of time, let me finish up the list and then we give them a round of applause. So on the list, number 4 is Shu Han Lim. Number 5, Chia Rui Lim. Number 6, Chia Ying Lim. And number 7, Esteban Malarme. So let's give them all a round of applause. Mr. Speaker, this is all I have on the list. I will now yield the floor to other members to supplement my introduction. If there are other very important people who should have been introduced, but I don't know their names and I don't see them back there. Thank you very much.
Speaker.
Thank
what a
you,
privilege.
Floor Leader Harbor. Who's that? Chairman Berman, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Good morning to you, Vice members, His Excellency Panuelo, Honorable George, Vice President, Cabinet members, Diplomatic Corps, and all that are observing our session this morning in this gallery. Mr. Speaker, I want to associate myself with the floor leader, and while he was reading his list, I think I have the same names, except for I want us to recognize Evelyn Atolf, that's also joining us this morning. Baldassar Sardis is the Speaker of Council of Soques. That's why he's my constituent. So, Nicholson Solomon, the Director of Pohnpei State R&D, and Councilman Richard Abraham, Committee on Chenko from the Kichi Isokaneti, and Liz, that always here during our session, Grace Hamaraj from the Japan MC. Let's please give them a round of applause.
Thank you, Chairman Berman. Any other privilege?
Speaker.
Yes, Chairman Wallet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to you and everyone in the gallery this morning. I bring you greetings from the island of that sleeping lady, and I join these previous speakers in their salutatory remarks regarding our dignitaries and friends in the gallery this morning. Mr. Speaker, aside from His Excellency Joshua George, I would like to also introduce 3 individuals from Kusai for introduction for recognition. We have from Kusai this morning in the chamber is Secretary of Education, Mr. Calvin Keves. We also have Mr. Calvin Emes, and our AO in our office in Kusai, the Kusai delegation, former Staff Sergeant in the Marine Corps, Mr. Art Sandale. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Wally. Any other point of privilege? If none, yep.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I joined the previous speakers in welcoming all the guests sitting in the gallery this morning. Yap being the farthest state of this federation, very expensive to bring people here. So in their names, in absentia, I bring greetings from them, the Yap leadership, and hope that this 5-day session will be very productive, that we will keep them in our midst of our discussion on issues pertaining to how we can improve this nation, and to assure the Congress that the Yap leadership and people are in support of the undertakings that we are doing here, and hope that we can also help in any way, shape, and form of any request that they submit to Congress and to the national government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Ursimo, for the statement. Any other point of privilege?
Speaker,
Chairman Romulo?
I guess all the state have recognized constituents, so we, the Chuk delegation, must also have the recognized citizens.
Yeah, I
Especially-
remember when it's before the election, you're very active in recognizing people.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning to you, members. I again also wish to associate myself with the previous speakers in begging the indulgence of this Congress to recognize some of our constituents from Chuk who are in the gallery. And first, I would like to point out that Asterio Takeshi, who have been introduced, and the family is from Northwest, and they are my constituents. So I beg that we also give them one more round of applause. In the chamber, Mr. Speaker and members, I wish also to ask that we also recognize Roger Arnold from chairman of the Norma board, who's also in the gallery this morning. Last but not the least, we also have Patrick McKenzie, who's our budget officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Romulo. Any other point of privilege? If none, there's no objection. Let's continue. Next item, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, item 5, presidential communications. In receipt of numbers 21-16 through 21-24.
Okay, assign those, Chief Clerk. Next item.
Item 6, FSM Supreme Court communications. There are none.
Next.
Item 7, member communications. Also none.
Next
Item 8, departmental communications. In receipt of numbers 21-03 through 21-06.
Thank you. You have two revenue projections. Take a look at them. Next item.
Item 9, agency or governmental authority communications. None, Mr. Speaker.
Next item.
Item 10, state communications. In receipt of one, and it's number 21-01.
Next item.
Item 11, State Supreme Court communications, none, Mr. Speaker. Item 12, municipal or town communications, also none. And item 13, foreign government communications, there are none, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, order of the day. Short recess subject to call of the chair. We're in recess now. Can you consult? Congress is back in session. Chairman Romulo, I recognize you. Do you
Thank
have
you.
any point of information?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to make a motion for a point of information.
Go ahead.
I wish to announce that your Committee on Tiango would hold a public hearing at 2 o'clock today.
Okay. Chairman, members of Janco, take note of that announcement, point of information. Okay, for Leader Harbor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I make the motion for us to go into recess, I would like to ask if I could continue my introduction of few of the people
Feel
who have
free.
been. Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning, we also have with us the Executive Director of NORMA, Eugene Pangilinan. Please give him a round of applause. And with him, as also introduced earlier, Roger Arnold, Chairman of the Board, and Crilly Jack, FSM representative on the board. Please give them another round of applause. And of course, my beloved constituent, Ebalilon, I think he's the Executive Director of the JCRP. Please welcome him, and Lance Jack and Debbie Radian. Sorry to mispronounce the last name again, but please, let's give them another round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may not be out of order, I move that we stand in recess until 3 o'clock today.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress stand in recess until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Those in favor of that motion say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Congress will now recess until 3 o'clock this afternoon.